The Soybean School on RealAgriculture.com is brought to you by Pride Seeds, Nodulator Pro, and Cruiser Max Vibrance Beans.
Joining us here on Real Agriculture for this edition of the Soybean School, we're pleased to welcome back Dennis Lange, Pulse Specialist with Manitoba Agriculture. And Dennis, soybean growers in Western Canada over the last number of years, looking at their options for seed, whether to plant certified seed as has been done with most acres in the past, but also more bin run seed being considered. What do growers need to keep in mind when they're making that decision?
Well, the one thing to really keep in mind is when you're buying a certified seed lot, you know what you're getting. You know that this variety has been tested before in Manitoba. You know what kind of maturity it has because we've run some of the tests on these varieties, and you have some information available to you. You're guaranteed a germination. Typically, germination for certified number one is 85% or higher. Most seed lots that go out are generally in that 90% range and higher. And you know what you're getting. You know you're getting if you're buying variety A, you know you're getting variety A because it's a pure seed lot because those fields have been inspected. When you're buying bin run seed, again, it's buyer beware. You know, you don't know a lot about what it's been grown from because there's no paperwork or no guarantee of what you're purchasing. You don't know what germination is going to be. You don't know if there's going to be some contamination risk in there with other soybean types. And at the end, you'll have an idea what the germination is, but there's no guarantee that germination could be different than what you buy. And
maturity might be up in the air.
Maturity could be a difference as well because again, you don't know what variety you're buying. So I always try to encourage growers to really look at putting the best seed you can in the ground because that's your starting point. That's going to give you your best success is putting the best variety you have in the ground.
Mm-hmm. So there have been growers dabbling in it for a number of years now. Do we have data as to performance of these varieties?
Well, this question's been asked, over a number of years, and when the coffee shop talk is always, well, some of these bin run varieties are yielding just as well as some of these traditional varieties. So I thought what I would do is actually look at some of the information that is provided in Yield Manitoba that MASC puts out every year, and look at that data from the last 3 or 4 years to see what kind of differences there are. Interesting to note when you look at some of the more common bin run varieties that are listed in there, the yields typically are lower than what the more traditional varieties are. In some cases, when you look at the most popular varieties of Roundup Ready 2s and 1s that are being grown, there's almost a 5 bushel per acre difference in yield, higher yield than some of the bin run seed varieties that are listed. Some growers may say, well, that's not really a direct comparison, but the way I look at it, this is what farmers are growing and this is what farmers are reporting to crop insurance on their harvest production reports. It's based on acres from all over the province and under various growing conditions. So it gives you a pretty good indication how a variety will perform.
So 5 bushel difference, that's like a 40 bushel crop versus a 35.
For example,
37,
yes.
32.
Yeah. Again, there could be in some instances when that's on average over the last few years. When you look at individual varieties over individual years, sometimes that yield difference is more. And some years it's maybe a little closer to the average, but typically when you look at our 5-year provincial average in Manitoba, you're actually looking at a 38 bushel per acre average. And when you're looking at the 5 or 10 year, you're actually looking at 35. And some of these bin run varieties are actually less than that. So just something to look at anyways.
Okay. Overall, what are you expecting for soybean acres in Manitoba this year, this discussion aside?
Well, last year we had about 2.3 million, just shy of 2.3 million acres in Manitoba. We're probably looking at a number slightly lower than that. Early projections right now are anywhere from 1.9 to 2 million acres. Canola acres last year and canola yields last year were quite strong, and growers, especially in the western part of the province, had some very good canola yields, and that's part of the reason why we're seeing probably a few more acres in canola and a few less acres in soybeans. So,
all right. Thanks for taking the time to join us again, Dennis.